Alright, so today we'll take a look at some of the best Pokemon you want to get early in Legends EA. Some of them you can find in plain sight, others are on rooftops, and quite a few of them are actually part of side missions that you really don't want to skip. So without further ado, let's jump right in it. Let's get started with an Alpha Gyarados you can get from early on. Actually, this starts as an Alpha Magikarp you're going to find right here as early as zone number 2, but we have to get across. So to reach it, you're going to have to pass a couple of bridges and basically go all the way around. You may find some rocks here over the water you have to destroy, but that's going to actually lead you to the encounter itself. Now be careful if you screw things up. This comes equipped with a Hydro Pump, so it will absolutely blast you, but it's also good because it means we can also use it once we get to capture the Magikarp. Now once it's yours, in my case, you can see it already started at level 32. It can already begin with at least level 20 the first time you get to this location. So what this means is we can immediately go ahead and simply evolve it into a Gyarados right away. And yes, this version will absolutely carry you from this point on. I'm not gonna lie, this is like one of my favorite OGs. It also has the waterfall ability, which just wrecks enemies. And from this point on, trust me, this guy will carry you without a doubt. I absolutely love this one, so give it a go. And by the way, you can also farm that Alpha Magikarp on repeat, as he seems to spawn in the same location every single day. Now from this point on, we're going to go ahead and capture an Eevee, as well as everything we need to evolve it for absolutely free in pretty much every single one of its forms. But before we actually do any of that, you're going to first want to increase your chances to capture it, because it's one of the more difficult to capture at this stage early on. So for that, head over to the Fennekin Construction location on this side of the map. It's not far off from the nearby Vent Pokemon Center, and in this case, if you got at least a few of those purple bolts, you can talk to this guy to trade them in for a blue Canary Plush. So this is going to have 3 levels, starts with the cost of 3 bolts, then 5, and then 8, but this is going to progressively increase your chances of successfully capturing Pokemon no matter what. So make sure that you look around scaffolding at the top of buildings and just pay attention to the purple Pokeballs you see laying around everywhere. You can, of course, also come back at a later date for some of the other plushies, especially the red one, which increases the XP that your Pokemon get. So there are quite a few options you can grab and upgrade later on. However, from this point on, we are going to grab our first Eevee, and one of the first locations for that will be right here on one of the rooftops at the blue sector 7. So in this case, what you can do is head over on this side of the map. You can also make use of the nearby cafe if you want to, but pay attention to this scaffolding to your left. If you make your way all the way at the top slowly, you're going to notice that right at the top of this small little opening, there is an Eevee in plain sight. So in this case, what you want to do is make use of the vegetation on the opposite corner, just so that it doesn't immediately spot you. Now in my case, I was raw dogging it in here. I wasn't even using that plushie, so I was absolutely insanely lucky for getting it on the first try. But I recommend using a repeating ball to increase your chances in conjunction with the plushie, and yeah, just throwing it from behind. Now you can actually get quite a few other Eevees all across the map as well. There are quite a few other locations in which you can find it if you want to go for every single of its variants. Like another early on is going to be right here in the park over at Vert Sector 9. If you pay attention across the water, it's going to spawn for you in the middle of the day. But yeah, for me in this case, I already captured it. Another one is going to be right here on the rooftops, very close to Cafe Ultimo, which is on the eastern side of the map. There is actually another side quest that brings us to this scaffolding here for another challenge, and at the top of it you can just get across the rooftop, destroy some of the nearby bramble using fire, and you're going to find the Eevee literally at the top of that rooftop. Fourth one that I was able to find was very close to Kazardico Inc. right here on the rooftop that you can access via a nearby scaffolding. So if you just go across over here, checking this gap between the buildings, you can use the scaffolding to make your way on the rooftop. Pass to the next one, and if you look across, you should see the Eevee again spawning if you are playing during daytime. Getting close to it, you should be able to capture it, but again, be careful not to screw things up like how I constantly do, but somehow manage to get it. And once you got 4 of those, what you can do is now evolve them. I'm going to show you both the paid version and also the absolutely free version. So if you want to spend a bit of money, you can actually go on this side of the map to the Stone Emporium, which you can just go ahead and enter into, which is now going to give you access to all of these stones, plus a few other very important items there as well. But as you can see, pretty much all of the Fire, Thunder, Water, and Leaf stones only costs 3,000 of the money, which, trust me, it's literally one night of fighting in some of the battle zones. So this is literally nothing. You're going to be swimming in money anyway, so you can totally go ahead and spend a bit of money to get the ones that you need. However, I'm also going to show you how to get all of the free stones early on. So in this case, the Ice Stone was already on the way towards our first Eevee. So just a little bit west from the research lab, around the middle of the street here, you should see a scaffolding to the left. If you make your way all the way at the top, navigating the ladders, you're going to notice there is a small drop point here around the middle. So this is going to give you the Ice Stone that you can use right away. For the Firestone, you're going to find it literally in this park right across Hotel Z. Now, in my case, I already just got it, but in this case, if you make your way at the top of the scaffolding, navigating some of these rails, it's literally going to be right here across the last and final section, across some other items you can grab in the area, so that's going to be the Firestone. We also have the Thunder very close by. It's actually going to be very close to the Pokemon Center, and this is going to be accessible via the rooftop. There's going to be this yellow elevator that you can take right at the top. And if you pay attention, behind this building, literally in front of you, you can grab the Thunderstone right away. Then we're going to have the Water Stone, and the earliest you can likely get is right here across zone number 2. There's going to be scaffolding adjacent to this building block. So if you climb it, it doesn't even have to be that long, all the way here to the second set of ladders. Go across the rail, and if you climb this smaller ladder, it's going to be here in front of you. You can just go ahead and grab it right away. But don't leave just yet, we have one more, which is the Leaf Stone, also very close, literally towards the same building block, but this time around on the opposite end, very close to the river. So in this case, you're going to find another scaffolding in between these buildings, and literally if you just climb this bigger ladder and then jump over this platform, it's going to be right in front of you. And now that you got all of the stones and all of the EVs, you can literally just consume all of these to basically get whichever version you want. Obviously, there are many benefits depending on whichever option you pick, but let me know down in the comments which is your favorite evolution of Eevee. Anyway, it doesn't stop here. We actually have a lot more that you can get via specific side missions, leading all the way to one that gives you the true OG starters. So not too long into the main story, the game will actually point towards 3 side missions you can get, during which you're going to also acquire other Pokemon specific to those side missions. However, once the game opens up, specifically after story mission number 5, you're going to notice quite a few more spawning across the map. So let me show you the ones you want to go to in order. So the first one is going to be a Fennekin, which you can get via the side mission called Get Well Fennekin, right here a bit up north from the Magenta Plaza Pokemon Center. So it's literally going to be this NPC with an ill Pokemon you have to rescue, which is not going to be too difficult. You just have to talk to a specific herbalist, which will point you to zone number 5. There are some twigs you can find in the area, and once you got the proper one, you can bring it back, and basically the Pokemon is yours. Now in my case, I immediately evolved it just because. So yeah, if you want, I guess, the Braixen, you can totally grab it. It's a nice fire Pokemon to have that also has a few other options in there for it. So pretty awesome, and it can actually be quite helpful. Next one is going to be a Chespin you can get via a feisty Chespin side mission on this side of the map, very close to the Academia. So in this case, you're going to find it fighting a taxi for some reason. So after having like 3 or 4 fights with it, it's just going to become yours, and it's basically going to be very useful as a grass type Pokemon. It also comes with some really cool abilities, like the rollout is definitely going to be helpful. You can also evolve it right away if you want to. That is what I did, basically going straight away into a Quilladin, but let me know in the comments if you evolve these right away or keep them for a little bit longer. The third one is going to be Froakie, and you can get this via a challenge from Froakie side quest you will find here on the east side of the map. Once you get to this location, you're going to find this guy, and this is going to issue about 3 or so challenges in which you have to navigate some of these scaffoldings in an allocated set of time. So like 30 seconds, then 40, and then 50. All of this is going to happen very close to where you started, so once you're done with all of them, your bonding with the Froakie increases, and basically now it's yours to take. So pretty nice if you want an extra water Pokemon to use right away. Now, before we actually move on to the final set of starters, there's technically one more side mission we can complete, which doesn't outright give you a Pokemon, but gives you access to a rooftop that you can't otherwise get that will hold a really cool Pokemon, which is going to be Hawlucha on this side of the map. So if you head over to Sammy the quest giver, you're going to notice that he sits across this broken elevator. So after a quick fight with him, he's going to repair that for you, giving you access to the rooftop itself. And if you make your way across all the way to this other side, you're going to get a few cool things on the way. One of which is going to be the Roar ability that you can grab from one of these golden Pokeballs. Another one is that if you go across the webbing in the area, in this case use any flight type Pokemon to make up a path ahead, you can go across this railing all the way to the opposite rooftop, point at which you're going to notice there's this really interesting Hawlucha you can fight or capture right away. Now he's going to be a little bit more difficult, but it's a pretty cool one to have. It's obviously going to be a fighter slash flight type Pokemon, so if you want something that has some really strong abilities and plays pretty uniquely, you can just grab it from here. At the very least, that's the only location I was able to find it at this stage in the game. Which brings us to our final side mission we have to complete, and that's going to be via the call from Mabel. This is literally going to spawn after the 8th story mission in the game, and if you just rest at any Pokemon Center, she's going to contact you and tell you she has something important to tell you back at the research laboratory. Once you're at the building level, simply head over to the elevator, make your way towards Mabel's office all the way at the top, and if you pay attention to your left here, or well, basically the opposite side of where she is, you will have a dialogue prompt with these 3 new starters to choose between: a Bulbasaur, a Charmander, and also a Squirtle. So in this case, pick whichever you like most. Obviously, I really love a Charizard in my party, so obviously I went with the Charmander, but let me know in the comments which one of these is your favorites and which ones you're going to be picking. Obviously you can eventually get all of them, but at this stage this is pretty much the earliest you can get them. And that pretty much concludes today's video with the best early on unlocks you will want to get in Pokemon Legends EA. Of course, if you enjoyed this video at any point or found it useful, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and activate that notification bell. That really helps pushing these videos up. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.